beautiful young girl is left home alone with only her dog to protect her. On the news that night, they announced that there was a serial killer on the loose in the area. Before she goes to bed, she locks all the doors and tries to lock all the windows, but the one in the basement won't lock. She decides to leave it unlocked, but locks the basement door and goes to bed. Her dog takes its customary place under the bed. In the deep of night, she awakens to a dripping sound coming from her bathroom. Half awake, the girl feels the comforting lick from her dog and falls back to sleep. She reawakens once again to the dripping sound, reaches her hand down to the dog where she feels the reassuring lick, and falls back to sleep. Once more, she awakens to the dripping sound. She reaches her hand down and feels the lick of her dog. After a fourth time, however, now curious about the dripping sound, she gets up and slowly walks toward her bathroom, the dripping sound getting louder as she approaches. She reaches the bathroom and turns on the lights. She screams as she is greeted by a horrific sight. Hanging from the shower nozzle is her dog, with its throat slit open and its blood dripping into the bathtub. Something on the mirror catches her. She turns around. Written on the wall in her dog's blood are the words, "Humans can lick too." One night, a woman went out for drinks with her girlfriends. She left the bar fairly late at night, got in her car, and onto the deserted highway. After a few miles, she noticed that she was low on gas and pulled into a gas station. She was frightened by the odd behavior of the attendant, who kept trying to get her to leave her car and join him in the office. She refused and drove off as fast as she could. As she drove, she noticed a lone pair of headlights in her rearview mirror approaching fast. As the car pulled up behind her, dangerously close to her tailgate, and the lights flashed. Now she was getting nervous. The car behind her kept flashing the lights off and on, and the driver seemed to be shouting and making signs with his hands. Through every stoplight and turn, it followed her until she reached her home and pulled into her driveway. Terrified, she made a mad dash into her house and called the police. As she ran from the car, so did the driver of the car behind her, and he screamed, "Lock the door and call the police! Call 911! When the police finally arrived, the horrible truth was revealed to the woman. The man in the car had been trying to save her. As he pulled up behind her and his headlights illuminated her car, he saw the silhouette of a man with a knife rising up from the back seat behind her, so he flashed the lights to warn her. The police arrested the crazed killer in the back seat, who turned out to be an escaped mental patient. It was an extremely lucky night, and the woman had a lucky escape. Called the perfect place to die, the Aokigahara Forest has the unfortunate distinction as the world's second most popular place to take one's life. The first is the Golden Gate Bridge. Since the 1950s, Japanese businessmen have wandered in, and at least 500 of them haven't wandered out, at an increasing rate of between 10 and 30 per year. Recently, these numbers have increased even more, with a record 78 suicides in 2002. Japanese spiritualists believe that the suicides committed in the forest have permeated Aokigahara trees, generating paranormal activity and preventing many who enter from escaping the forest's depths. Complicating matters even further is the common experience of compasses being rendered useless by the rich deposits of magnetic iron in the area's volcanic soil. Due to the vastness of the forest, desperate visitors are unlikely to encounter anyone once inside the so-called Sea of Trees, so the police have mounted signs reading, "Your life is a precious gift from your parents," and "Please consult the police before you decide to die" on trees throughout. Contemporary news outlets noted the recent spike in suicides in the forest, blamed more on Japan's economic downturn than the romantic ending of Saicho Matsumoto's novel Kuroi Jukai, which revitalized the so-called suicide forest's popularity among those determined to take their final walk. The novel culminates in Aokigahara as the characters are driven to joint suicide. Locals say they can easily spot the three types of visitors to the forest: trekkers interested in the scenic vistas of Mount Fuji, the curious hoping for a glimpse of the macabre, and the souls who don't plan on returning. What those hoping to take their lives may not consider is the impact the suicides have on locals and the forest workers. In the words of one local man, "It bugs the hell out of me that the area is famous for being a suicide spot." And a local police officer said, "I've seen plenty of bodies that have been really badly decomposed or pecked at by wild animals. There's nothing beautiful about dying in there." The forest workers have it even worse than the police. The workers must carry the bodies down from the forest to the local station, where the bodies are put in a special room used specifically to house suicide corpses. The forest workers then play Jen Ken Pon, which English speakers call rock, paper, scissors, to see who has to sleep in the room with the corpse. It is believed that if the corpse is left alone, it is very bad luck for the yurei, or ghost, of the suicide victims. Their spirits are said to scream throughout the night, and their bodies will move on their own.